Thank you all very much, and thank you for that wonderful introduction. It is truly an honor and a privilege to be here in Nashville, the home of country music. I, probably like many of you, love country music. I have a 16-year-old daughter, though, who doesn't quite agree with me. In fact, every time I put on my favorite country music, she says to me, "Dad, why do you like this stuff?" And I always say to her, "Carolyn, I like it because of the power of the words." The beauty of country music is that they understand the power of words. When words are used appropriately, they affect the way that we feel, the way that we act. They make us understand better who we are. The words that we use can literally transform the way we think about ourselves. Let me give you a few simple examples. One, the word nice. If I told you that you were nice, it might make you feel good inside. In fact, it might make you think when you go outside later on, hey, I'm a nice person. I need to act a little bit differently. I need to think about how I behave a little bit differently. Let me take a second word, which may be from the exact opposite, which is awful. If instead of I told you you were a nice person, I said that you were an awful person, you might really put a look like that on your face and feel bad about yourself and walk out and kind of walk around, oh, I'm an awful person, and never really do too many nice things. But that is all based on a simple understanding that you and I have a common understanding of what is nice and what is awful. But you know, sometimes words change over time. You know, if we weren't here in the 21st century, but we were sometime in the Renaissance period, and we were in jolly old England and in a court someplace, and I was sitting here talking, and all of a sudden, at the end of it, you came up to me and said, "That was an awful speech. People had told me you were a nice guy, but I don't believe it anymore." I would be the happiest person in the world. Do you know why? Because back in the Renaissance time, awful meant awe-inspiring. It meant a whole new way of thinking, wondrous. And nice meant dumb, simple. So a nice guy was a dumb guy, and an awful speaker was a magnificent speaker. Well, you know something? What's shocking is there have been several words of change like that. And one of those words that I want to talk about today is philanthropist. Philanthropist. I know that as I say that word, you guys all have images that happen to appear. Images like Gates, or Buffett, or Bono, or maybe Carnegie, or Rockefeller, or of course Soros, or maybe my favorite, Angelina Jolie. Now, you may be all wondering, what is this going? But the truth of the matter is, philanthropists in the 21st century has a very specific meaning. It's powerful people with lots of money who take that money and do good things with it. It's powerful people who have fame and fortune who take that fame and fortune and try to do good things with it. You know, ever since the Industrial Revolution, a philanthropist was defined as a person with excess resources who uses their private funds for public good. And let's face it, me, you, and 99.9% of the world will never get to be in the circles of Bill Gates and George Soros or even Angelina Jolie. We just won't have that excess capital. We just won't have that type of money. We just won't have that power, that fame, or that fortune to make a difference. So does that mean we can't be philanthropists? Does that mean that we don't have the power to make a difference? Has philanthropy really become just a medal of honor that is reserved for the rich? Well, I have to tell you something. There was this woman, Oprah Winfrey, who had the audacity to stand up and called me the next greatest philanthropist. Oprah, are you crazy? Have you seen my bank account? I don't have much money. I don't have any fame, except, of course, I did get to win her TV show, so it gave me a little bit of it. And in case you don't know exactly what happened, here's just a little clip at the end.
So much respect for you because never once did you ask what was in it for you. Here we go. Open them up. And the biggest giver, I don't even know. The biggest giver is...
It, it certainly, thank you. It certainly was a magnificent moment. The hug was pretty special, but what was inside the envelope was $1 million. That was, well, okay, it was a little more special than the hug, but it was close. But here's what happened. From that day forward, people started calling me a philanthropist. And I thought to myself, what in the world are they talking about? Am I actually a philanthropist just because all of a sudden I have $1 million to give away? Am I suddenly a philanthropist because I have more money and Oprah Winfrey said so? I was still the same old person, but all of a sudden I had an obligation. I actually started to be asked to speak at places, whether that was schools or at businesses or TEDx conferences, and to talk about philanthropy. And I thought to myself, I better get to know what a philanthropist is. Because is it actually possible that a fool like me could sit in the middle of all of these people? Because I can't stack up to any one of them. So I did a little bit of research. And I went back and I tried to find the root of what philanthropy really was. Not what it's described as in the 21st century, but what was it really, the meaning of it. And when I checked out the first thing, philanthropy, it never once spoke about money. Here it was, the love of mankind. And when they talked about love, they didn't talk about romantic love. They talked about service and nurturing and expanding and just being kind. The love of mankind. In fact, as I looked into it more, it said enhancing humanity. And humanity just meant what it meant to be human. So a philanthropist is not some rich guy or some beautiful woman or some rich woman or some ugly guy. What it is one who loves and serves mankind. This completely changed how I thought about philanthropy. Because all of a sudden, you did not have to be the second wealthiest man in the world or a Wall Street mogul. You certainly didn't have to build some huge empire or a family foundation. You didn't even have to be a rock star, a movie star, or a reality TV star. That is not what is required to be a philanthropist. What is required is that people like you and me, and people who are mothers and fathers and brothers and sisters, who are business owners and business workers, they're the CEOs and the janitors. They're the people who wake up every single morning and decide that they are going to love and serve mankind, no matter how much money they have to give, no matter how difficult their life is, or no matter how wonderful their life is. Each and every day they wake up and they say, I am going to love and serve mankind. I'm going to enhance humanity. That is the 21st century philanthropist. So you might ask, well, why? Why should I be a philanthropist? Well, it's funny because in the 21st century, they have a very simple answer. To change the world. Doesn't that feel great? Let's change the world. I know what we'll do. We'll end hunger. We'll cure disease. We might even stop poverty or educate everyone. That is a grandiose idea, and I love it. But let's face it. I've already given away Oprah's $1 million. I don't have much more to give. So the reality is I'll probably never be able to end hunger. And I would even think that probably all of you, no matter how philanthropic you get, there will still be poverty. And if we cure some diseases like Bill Gates is trying to do, there will be some diseases left. And I've been trying to educate. One of the things I've been doing is in Rwanda, Africa, around education. And I've been working as hard as I can to educate kids in Africa. And I will tell you to the day I die, there will be more kids in Rwanda, Africa, who will need to get educated. So this idea that a philanthropist has to have this lofty goal of changing the world and ending these magnificent, difficult problems, I believe is also flawed. Because I believe what a philanthropist must do is begin to change their own world. What do I mean by that? Well, it's quite simple. I have to be honest. I would imagine that each and every one of you, just like me, have a hunger in your heart for something more than this world currently has to offer. More than the fame and the fortune that is put out before us that says this is life. And I will tell you, when you become a philanthropist and you wake up every day thinking about serving and loving and enhancing others, that hunger will become satiated. You will feed that hunger and you will begin to feel full. I will also tell you this, that each and every one of us has a poverty in our soul, a poverty that is missing something. We yearn for that connection. And you know, ever since I think the Industrial Revolution, we have slipped away from connection. We have become a thing based only on performance, only on success, only on dollars and cents. That is not a philanthropic life. That is not a philanthropic community. That is not a philanthropic society. The reality is this: you have a poverty in your soul that wants connection. And when you live and you serve and you love mankind, that poverty will go away. And we all have a disease. There is a disease spreading across not only our nation, but across the world. If you've paid any attention since 2008, you know exactly what that disease is. It's greed. It's selfishness. It's this idea that the more that I have and the less that somebody else has makes me a better person. This disease is killing us. It's destroying us from the inside out. It's killing not only American society, but it's killing every society across the globe. However, if each and every person starts to wake up in the morning as the new philanthropist, that disease will become cured. Because you cannot serve and love mankind if you are greedy and selfish. You will suddenly put that aside and you will suddenly realize that life is so much better when you are living a philanthropic life. And then there's one more: the ignorance we all have. And believe me, I'm not saying that you are all ignorant, but I am telling you that I am ignorant. And I think if we are willing to really truly look at ourselves in the mirror, we are all ignorant. We are ignorant about one thing: the plight of other human beings. When I first went to Rwanda, Africa, I had no idea what it meant to be a poor kid in the hills of Rwanda. I've had no idea what it meant to try to get educated in places where they didn't have books or teachers. My ignorance on the world was beyond belief. And it wasn't until I started to live a philanthropic life that I began to actually become educated on the world. And believe me, you don't have to go to Rwanda, Africa, to be changed. I can guarantee you there are people up and down your street that you are ignorant about the plight of their life. You don't understand how difficult some things are. You may think they're bitchy or they're a pain in the butt or they're annoying. But if you ever spent the time to love and serve them, you would find out a story that would change the way you think about each and every one of them. So philanthropy is not something that we do in a transaction. It is not a tax-deductible act. It is not something that we wear as a badge that says, I've made enough money now, I can be philanthropic. It is not that at all. It is a way of living. It is a way of thinking. It is a way of changing your world, because as you begin to change your world, the world around you will change. Now, a lot of you may be asking, well, what have you done since Oprah gave you this? The truth is, I started a little thing called Give Back that I wanted to help people give more money back. But now I've changed that. And I've created this idea of Dutopia, a world of giving, your world of giving, not Bill Gates' world, not George Soros' world, not even Angelina Jolie's world, and certainly not my world, but your world of giving, where you can come and make that difference that you want to make just by loving and serving mankind. That is the 21st century philanthropist. That is the true meaning of philanthropy. And that is what we all must begin to aspire to. If we ever want to forget about ending hunger, but just change the world that we live in day and day out. So as I wrap this up, I want to tell you that I will not be upset if you tell me I'm not a very nice guy. Or if afterwards, when we're out there, you can tell me this is an awful speech. I'm okay with all that. But what I would love to be able to hear is that at least each and every one of you begin to think about your lives in a different way and you think of yourselves as philanthropists, if nothing else happens out of this, when you wake up tomorrow morning, or maybe even when you go to bed tonight, you said, I'm going to live a philanthropic life. And what that means is that you will love and serve mankind. You will care for, enhance, and make better your world. So one day, our world will be a better place. Thank you very much.